The sky over Queensland had been dark for days. Sheets of rain fell endlessly, turning quiet streets into rivers and calm creeks into raging torrents. Before we continue, please take some time to subscribe to Dailydose, like, and share this video. Entire neighborhoods were drowning. Cars floated like toys, and terrified families scrambled to higher ground. This wasn't just a storm, it was a flood unlike anything the town had ever seen. Amid the chaos, one family found themselves trapped in the heart of it all. Donna Rice was behind the wheel, her two boys, Jordan, 13, and Blake, 10, seated beside her. She had driven this road countless times, but on that day, the road was gone, swallowed by rushing waters. At the intersection of Kitchener and James Street, the family's car shuddered to a stop, pinned by the relentless current. Within moments, the rising flood surrounded them, leaving Donna and her sons stranded. Desperate, they climbed onto the roof of the car, their eyes wide with fear as the river raged below. The rain pounded harder. Waves slammed against the car, rocking it beneath their feet. Donna wrapped her arms tightly around her boys, whispering words of comfort she wasn't sure she believed. Each passing second, the waters crept higher, their strength fading. And then, a flicker of hope appeared. Through the storm, a man emerged, rope in hand, fighting against the flood to reach them. He wasn't a rescuer in uniform, just a passerby, determined to help. But one truth became clear. One man couldn't save all three. As he approached, he extended the rope toward Jordan, the older of the two boys. But Jordan shook his head. His face was pale, his body trembling. Everyone knew Jordan was terrified of water. He couldn't swim. And even on calm days, the river frightened him. Yet in that moment, his voice rang out stronger than the storm itself. "Take my brother first." 4 words, quiet but firm, words that froze the rescuer in place. This wasn't the plea of a frightened child, it was the command of a boy ready to sacrifice everything for his little brother. The man hesitated, torn between instinct and the boy's desperate plea. But Jordan's eyes were unwavering. So, with no time to waste, the rescuer obeyed. He pulled Blake to safety, fighting against the current until the younger boy was finally on solid ground. When he turned back to reach for Jordan and Donna, it was already too late. The flood surged forward with merciless force, sweeping the mother and son into the torrent. Their screams were drowned by the roar of the water as they vanished downstream. That night, as the storm raged on, Queensland would lose 35 lives to the flood. But only one story would echo louder than the storm itself, the story of a boy who faced his greatest fear, not with tears or selfishness, but with love. Take my brother first. When the waters finally receded, the true scale of the tragedy emerged. Houses were shattered, cars piled like fallen dominoes, and the once bustling streets were left coated in thick layers of mud. Families mourned as names of the missing and dead were read aloud. Each one another heartbreak for Queensland. Among them were Donna and her 13-year-old son, Jordan Rice. Their bodies were found several miles downstream. Though grief hung heavy over the community, Jordan's final words had already begun to spread, carried by the rescuer, whispered by witnesses, and soon echoed across Australia. At the funeral, mourners filled the room until there was no space left to stand. 2 caskets side by side, one for a mother, one for a son. They were covered in roses, each flower a silent tribute to the courage that had emerged in those last fleeting seconds of life. When Jordan's father, John Tyson, rose to speak, the air grew still. His voice broke as he recounted his son's final sacrifice. I can only imagine what went through his mind. To give up his life to save his brother, even though he was terrified of water. He is our little hero. The story captured the nation. Newspapers carried headlines about Jordan's bravery, talk shows honored him, and petitions spread across the internet. More than 300 signatures demanded his name be remembered, not as a victim, but as a symbol of selflessness. And recognition came. Governor Paul DeJersey awarded Jordan a posthumous bravery medal, accepted tearfully by his father. Yet John also spoke with frustration, calling out politicians who promised public honors but never followed through. For him, this wasn't about politics. It was about a boy who had shown the purest kind of courage. Tough, John later wrote, isn't always loud or brash. Tough can be 4 words, quietly but firmly spoken by a boy who couldn't swim, as water threatened to swallow him. In the years since, Jordan's memory has been carried forward through the Jordan Rice Foundation, created by his father. Its mission, to help families dealing with grief, to ensure that no parent feels alone in the storm of loss. I don't want anyone to go through what we've been through, John explained. Even a roadside cross brings the pain rushing back. If we can ease that pain for others, then Jordan's legacy lives on. And it does, because Jordan Rice will always be remembered, not for the life he lost, but for the life he saved. His final act was not fear, but love. In those last moments, as floodwaters closed in, he gave his brother a chance to live, a chance that Blake carries with him every single day. Jordan's story reminds us of something eternal. Heroism isn't measured by size, age, or strength. Sometimes it's measured in just 4 words. Take my brother first.